America is in shock. The Su-57 has been turned into a nuclear needle capable of piercing any shield. While Washington laments over democracy and tries to sell the world the 87th version of their invincible air defense, Russian engineers calmly, without hysteria or Hollywood decorations, have achieved what the USA could not for decades. Attention! In the internal compartment of the fifth-generation fighter Su-57, they placed a continental range device. Yes, in that very compartment that Western articles have for years called narrow, insufficient, and supposedly incapable of accommodating anything more serious than an air-to-air missile. And suddenly, a bolt from the blue in the clear Pentagon sky. The publication Military Watch, not RT, not Red Star, but specifically an American analytical media outlet, reports with concern, the Russians have learned to hide intercontinental greetings in agile stealth fighters. What does this mean? It means that now the US base on Guam, their favorite unsinkable aircraft carrier platform in the Pacific Ocean, becomes not just vulnerable, it turns into a potential launch screen for an explosion live on air. If before this needed to be warned about via the red phone, now it's a surprise. A missile can launch from an untrackable plane and hit the target before the commander of the United States Pacific Fleet finishes his morning coffee. And this is where real convulsions begin in NATO. Until now, the Americans lived with the certainty that the strategic threat was the Tu-95 or Tu-160. Huge, noticeable, flying accompanied by MiG-31. They can be detected, tracked, defense protocols can be activated, sanctions can be threatened, and it can be made to appear that everything is under control. But the Su-57 is a different league. It's an invisible, it's a predator, it's a strike from behind. It can take off from an airfield in Komsomolsk-on-Amur, fly over the Pacific Ocean, and on board, it will have that very missile capable of wiping out everything up to Los Angeles. And why even fly over the ocean if there's aerial refueling? Now, attention to the strategic map. The first squadron of Su-57s will most likely be stationed in the Far East, not in the European part of Russia, nor near Moscow, but where with one strike they can cover both Guam, Japanese bases, and even Hawaii. This is no longer defense, this is offensive readiness, this is not a retaliatory strike. This is a preemptive predator lurking at Far Eastern airfields ready to launch at the push of a button. And all this is not fiction. Not a trailer for Top Gun, but a reality documented by American journalists, because the United States itself could not deploy such weaponry in either the F-22 or the F-35. They tried, but either it didn't fit, or it overheated, or it disrupted the flight balance. But Russia went ahead and did it. Did it in a way that no one else could, while maintaining a range comparable to what used to fit only in giant strategists with 4 engines. This is a technological leap, without pomp, but with depth. And now let's listen to how the Western expert community groans. Military Watch, Forbes, The Drive. Analysts are in a panic. They realized now they can no longer rely on the old deterrence system. Satellites? With the U-57 missile in the bay, this is not a strategist that lights up on every radar. This is not a giant that can be detected from 3,000 kilometers away. This is a grey wolf that moves silently. Its launch is already the finale, not a warning. And now imagine dozens of such aircraft equipped with compact but long-range missiles simultaneously taking off from different airfields. Who will understand which one has a gift for the base in Okinawa and which one is just on a patrol flight? The United States has already expressed concern? Well, classic genre. The same faces from the State Department, who not long ago tried to set conditions for us regarding missile carriers, are now sitting in the shadows and frantically counting the remaining Patriots. By the way, they are not even enough for Ukraine, where Iskanders and Geraniums are wiping out their defenses. Now imagine that similar missiles are launched not from Russian territory, but from aircraft located thousands of kilometers from the border. Where do you sound the sirens now? In which direction do you launch the interceptors? Judge for yourself how painful it is for the West to realize this. Their security doctrine relied on the thesis of the predictability of the Russian threat. It no longer works. Their systems were built around the old school of strategists, but now the Su-57 breaks all the patterns. Their notion of parity is shattered. Russia knows how to deliver a covert strike in strategic depth. And this is not a concept, it is a serial product. All this notorious Western defensive rhetoric deflates like a punctured inflatable mattress in a storm. The United States can no longer be sure of its invulnerability across the ocean. Russia has not just come closer, it has taken aim, and this is no longer the nuclear deterrence theory of the Cuban Missile Crisis era. This is a new military geometry where the starting point doesn't matter if you can't detect the launch itself. Western generals are now feverishly thinking about how to build defense against an enemy that is neither seen nor heard until the strike. And it is precisely on this principle that the concept of inevitable retribution is built. You cannot hide, you cannot escape. You will simply disappear if you make a move. The Su-57 with a continental range product is not just technology, it's a geopolitical warning in stealth format. And if earlier the West relied on a massive first wave of strikes, now it is clear that Russia doesn't need much. It needs precision and timing. But it is in this precision and speed that lies the terrifying novelty for the United States, for which they are not prepared. Not morally, not technically, not strategically. After all, their entire military model consists of expensive aircraft carriers, bases, open systems, not immobile shadows that strike from nowhere. But now this shadow is already flying and carries within it not just a threat, but a real charge capable of nullifying an entire theater of military operations. And while the White House wavers between concerned and deeply concerned, Russia calmly shows the one-sided game is over. Now we have our own rules and our own predators in the sky. Now every admiral at the base in Guam or Hokkaido must fall asleep with the thought, we are ready for anything. Isn't the Su-57 approaching it now, seconds away, and quietly whistling with that very compact needle with continental contents? And what if today, is it his turn? This fear is the main ally of strategic stability. Neither memes on Twitter, nor statements by Ursula von der Leyen, nor even the maneuvers from the State Department, but the real awareness that the strike can be devastating. And it is already near. This is precisely what restrains the West from making reckless decisions, and it is precisely for this reason that we make our missiles. But the most interesting thing is not even that the missile fits in the compartment, but that no one knows exactly which Su-57 it is currently in. Hundreds of planes, dozens of airfields, each has a stealth profile, and any one of them could be the one. The Pentagon understands. In the old days, satellites tracked the movements of strategic aviation. And that was a signal. And now, you won't see it taking off. You won't hear it entering the operational zone. You won't know what exactly it carries. A training dummy or a charge capable of wiping out half the base. And this changes everything, because the threat no longer requires announcements, does not need loud statements, does not warn through diplomacy. She's silent, flies, and at some point, just strikes. Now imagine, you are the chief of staff in Guam. You have just been informed. A group of Su-57s has been spotted in the sky over the Pacific Ocean. A maneuver without explanations. Your first thought is to check if the missile defense systems are activated. The second is whether you have time. And the third? What if it's already too late and you're just drinking coffee to the sound of the approaching end? This is the effect of strategic shock. For the first time since the Cold War, Russia has shown that it is capable not just of deterring, but of seriously frightening. The West had long thought that Moscow was lagging behind, in technology, in range, in precision. But when they opened the hatch of the Su-57 and took out a device with a range of several thousand kilometers, all their forecasts were shattered. And now the main analytical centers of the West, RAND, Stratfor, CSIs, are restructuring defense scenarios, revising the situation in the Pacific, rewriting NATO training plans, because everything that worked yesterday is no longer relevant. If before it was simple, spotted a Tu-95, launched an F-22 into the sky, tracked the route, raised the alarm, but now there is no one to raise the alarm, because no one knows where it is. It is invisible, it is fast, it is a predator, and most importantly, it has gone hunting.